Have you ever noticed that life is always asking you to look ahead? There's always another milestone waiting for you. Another promotion, another relationship, another house, another achievement, another version of yourself that you're told you should become. From the moment we're old enough to understand the world, we're taught that life is about moving forward. Keep climbing, keep improving, keep wanting more. And somewhere along the way, we stop asking a simple question: what is all this wanting actually costing us? Wanting more isn't wrong. In many ways, it's the reason people grow, create, build, and dream. But there's a difference between wanting more because it inspires you and needing more because nothing you already have ever feels enough. That's a line most people don't realize they've crossed. They don't wake up one morning and decide they'll never be satisfied. It happens quietly, slowly, one achievement at a time. Think about how quickly excitement fades. The job you desperately wanted eventually becomes just another Monday morning. The phone you couldn't stop thinking about becomes something you barely notice. The salary that once felt impossible becomes the new minimum. The life you once prayed for quietly becomes the life you complain about. Not because those things lost their value, but because your mind immediately starts searching for the next thing to chase. That's the strange thing about desire. It rarely stops where you expect it to. It doesn't congratulate you when you arrive. It simply moves the finish line. The moment you reach one goal, another one appears. The moment you accomplish something you've wanted for years, your attention shifts to what you still don't have. Before you can appreciate where you are, your mind has already left for somewhere else. The world encourages this without ever saying it directly. Every advertisement tells you that your life could be better. Every success story reminds you that someone else is further ahead. Every scroll through social media quietly suggests that you're behind, that there's another lifestyle to reach, another experience to have, another standard you haven't met yet. Without realizing it, many people stop measuring their lives by what they've built and start measuring them by what they're still missing. Perhaps that's why so many people feel exhausted without understanding why. They're not only carrying the weight of their responsibilities, they're carrying the pressure of believing that where they are is never enough. Every achievement becomes temporary. Every victory has an expiration date. Every moment of satisfaction is interrupted by the feeling that they should already be chasing something bigger. The truth is, wanting more becomes dangerous the moment it steals your ability to recognize what you already have. Because if every achievement immediately becomes ordinary, you'll spend your entire life reaching destinations you'll never actually allow yourself to enjoy. The tragedy isn't that people dream too much. It's that many people arrive at the life they once dreamed of and barely notice they made it. The strange thing about chasing more is that life rarely asks for money as the price. Money is usually the smallest part of the transaction. The real price is paid in things that are much harder to replace: time, peace of mind, relationships, presence, sleep, moments you'll never experience again. Those are the things people slowly trade away while believing they're simply working toward a better future. The problem is that these costs don't arrive all at once. If they did, most people would stop immediately. Instead, they arrive so gradually that they're almost invisible. You tell yourself you'll slow down after this project, after this promotion, after you reach a certain number in your bank account. But every finish line introduces another one, and before long, your entire life becomes preparation for a future that never quite arrives. Perhaps the most dangerous sentence in the world isn't "I want more." It's I'll enjoy life when I'm earning more. I'll enjoy life when I finally own a house. I'll enjoy life when I have more free time. I'll enjoy life when everything settles down. That sentence has stolen years from countless people because the conditions for happiness keep changing. Every time one goal is achieved, another requirement quietly takes its place. What's even more unsettling is that many people don't realize they're living this way until something forces them to stop. A conversation they wish they had. A friendship that slowly disappeared. Parents who suddenly look older than they remember. Children who grew up while they were too busy planning for tomorrow. It isn't that they chose those losses. It's that they were so focused on building a life that they didn't notice life was already happening around them. And then there's comparison, the quiet force that convinces us our progress is never enough. It's difficult to appreciate your own journey when you're constantly looking at someone else's destination. The moment comparison enters the conversation, gratitude quietly leaves it. Suddenly, your achievements feel smaller, your progress feels slower, and your life begins to look incomplete, not because it actually is, but because you're measuring it against a version of reality you'll never fully see. That's the hidden cost of always wanting more. It doesn't simply make you ambitious. It makes it difficult to feel content. It teaches you to celebrate for a moment before immediately searching for what's missing. It turns every accomplishment into a temporary stop instead of something worth experiencing. And over time, you begin to mistake constant dissatisfaction for ambition, believing that if you're ever content, you've somehow stopped growing. Maybe that's why so many people reach the very goals they spent years chasing, only to discover the feeling they were searching for never arrived. They achieved more, owned more, earned more, and accomplished more, yet the emptiness remained exactly where it was. Not because success failed them, but because they expected success to provide something it was never designed to give. Maybe that's the conversation we should be having more often. Not whether success is worth pursuing, but whether we've attached expectations to it that it was never meant to carry. Somewhere along the way, many people stopped seeing success as something to achieve and started seeing it as something that would finally make them feel complete. But achievements can change your circumstances. They can't permanently change the way you relate to yourself. That's why the excitement fades, the satisfaction becomes familiar, and the search quietly begins again. The irony is that people often spend years chasing the very future that eventually becomes their ordinary life. The career they once dreamed about becomes another routine. The home they imagined becomes the place they barely notice. The relationship they longed for becomes something they stop appreciating. It's not because those things lost their value. It's because human beings have an extraordinary ability to adapt. We get used to almost everything, including the lives we once believed would make us happy forever. Perhaps the greatest price of always wanting more is that it teaches you to overlook the present. Your attention is always fixed on what comes next, so today's victories feel too small, today's moments feel too ordinary, and today's life feels like nothing more than a waiting room for tomorrow. But tomorrow has a habit of becoming another today, and if today is never enough, tomorrow won't be either. The destination keeps changing because the habit never does. This doesn't mean you should stop dreaming or stop building a better life. Wanting to grow is part of being human. The question isn't whether you should want more. The question is whether your pursuit of more has become so consuming that you've forgotten how to recognize enough. Because there is a difference between ambition that gives your life purpose and ambition that quietly steals your ability to enjoy the life you're working so hard to build. Maybe the real measure of success isn't how many goals you've achieved, but whether you were fully present while achieving them. Whether you noticed the ordinary days that eventually became your memories. Whether you appreciated the people who walked beside you before time quietly changed them. Whether you allowed yourself to celebrate the chapters you once couldn't wait to reach instead of immediately turning the page in search of another. In the end, life will always offer you another goal, another opportunity, another mountain to climb. There will always be another version of more, waiting just beyond where you are today. But there is one thing life will never give back once it's gone, and that's the time you spent believing that your real life would begin after the next achievement. Perhaps the price of always wanting more isn't that you'll never reach enough. Perhaps it's that, in chasing everything you hoped life could become, you risk overlooking the life that was already yours all along. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep asking the questions that change the way you see the world.